Hey, what's up? This is Anupam. Welcome back. This is the third tutorial on the video tutorial series on interrupts of STM32F4 Discovery Board. You can check out the website www.logicvoltage.com. You will find many other STM32F4 Discovery tutorials at the website also. You can even check out the video store at the website. You will find very good video tutorial series there with a very less price. You can even get in touch with me also in case of any query. Just go to contact us page and fill up the form and I will reply. You can check out the forum also. For any tutorial related queries, you can post comment there and I will reply back there so that other people can also see the comments and what discussion is going on. Please make some donations so that we can continue to create the many free tutorials. You are welcome to choose any amount as you like for donation. We will be highly appreciated. You can also support us by subscribing my YouTube channel. Thanks. Okay, in the previous tutorial, we have written this program on how to initialize the interrupts and then executed the program on the discovery board. Now in this tutorial, we will learn about the different types of interrupts and then we'll learn what interrupt priority is. And finally, we will update this program to use interrupt priorities concepts. Okay. Let's go to the reference manual of the STM32F407 VG microcontroller. This is the reference manual. If you don't have this PDF document, then please download it from ST website or you can go to download section of www.logicvoltage.com website and download it from there. Okay, so here I already have the reference manual. In this manual, go to page number 371. Now you can see in my screen that we have a table. In this table, actually we have all the interrupts that the STM32F407 VG microcontroller has. If you see that we have headings: position, priority, type of priority, acronym, description and address. Let's see the top one. We have priority -3. Type of priority is fixed. Acronym is reset. Description is also reset. And then we have address in hexadecimal, that is 4. Let's go through one by one. We have priority -3. Here priority means if a situation occurs where two interrupts occurred at the same time, then which interrupt will be served first by the microcontroller? A low priority number means high priority, or in other words, let's suppose we have two interrupts, interrupt A and interrupt B. Interrupt A has priority value 1 and interrupt B has priority value 2, and let's say that somehow both interrupts A and B occurred at the same time. So on the basis of this priority value, the microcontroller decides which interrupt to serve first. As interrupt A has priority value 1, which is less than the priority value of 2 of interrupt B. Hence, the microcontroller will first serve the interrupt A. Then it will serve interrupt B. Let's see example of one more situation. Let's say we have two interrupts, interrupt A and interrupt B. Interrupt A has priority value 2 and interrupt B has priority value 1. That means interrupt B has high priority than interrupt A. Now let's suppose interrupt A has occurred. Hence, the statements written on interrupt A ISR will start executing. Let's say it has 6 statements. Now the ISR will start executing. Now first, the second, then third. Now let's suppose the interrupt B now occurred. So what will happen is now the microcontroller will hold this execution here, and it will now go to ISR of interrupt B, and it will execute all statements of the ISR. That's because interrupt B has high priority than interrupt A. Now when interrupt B ISR is complete, then it will again come back to ISR of interrupt A, and then it will resume the execution from the statement where it was put on hold earlier, and then it will complete the ISR of interrupt A. Hence you can see how a priority value can affect the interrupt working process. Okay, similarly, so here you can see it has priority value -3, which is less than anyone else in this table. That means reset has the highest priority than any other interrupt. Now next thing is the type of priority, which is written as fixed. That means you cannot change this priority value. In programs, we can assign priority number to interrupts, but for reset it is fixed. You cannot change this number. Next two terms are actually telling us the interrupt name, and then we have address. Every interrupt has an address assigned to it. You actually don't need to know this. You will never need to use in your program because the library will automatically do that for you. Hence, in same way, if we go down through all, we have 91 interrupts here. Now you must be wondering that in our previous tutorial we have written a program on interrupt where we have used a switch to generate interrupt. Let's open that program. If you see in this program, then we have declared EXTI line 1. That means when we press the switch, it will generate this interrupt. Now let's go back to the manual and search for the EXTI line 1 interrupt in the table. You can see that there we have. We actually used this interrupt on that program. Similarly, we have option of choose line 0, line 2, line 3, line 4 interrupt also. As you can see that they all have a different priority values assigned to them. That means EXTI line 0 has high priority than EXTI line 1 because 13 is smaller than 14, and same EXTI line 1 has high priority value than EXTI line 2, and same goes on. Now in the next column you can see that all are settable. That means you can change this priority value in your program. So you could make the EXTI line 1 high priority than EXTI line 0. Now let's update our program and see how interrupt priority actually works, how we can assign priority numbers. Okay, now to understand priority concepts, we have to use two interrupts. Till now we were using only one interrupt. We just press this switch and interrupt will generate, making this blink 5 times. Now we will add a new switch in this circuit, and also we will add a new LED. Let me show you how the new circuit will look. Okay, let's first build the circuit that we have already worked in the previous tutorial. In the previous tutorial, we worked on two LEDs. And then we have discovery board here. having two pins, PD0 and PD1, and we connected the LED1 to PD0 and LED2 to PD1. Then we have ground pin on the discovery board and connect the LED's negative side together and connect them to ground pin. And then we have one switch also present. We have PA1 pin and 3V pin on the discovery board. Then we have connected one end of the switch to PA1 pin and connect the 3V pin to other end of the switch. Okay, so now this is the circuit that we have already built and worked on the previous tutorial. So now in this tutorial we will work with interrupt priorities. So to work with interrupt priorities we need two interrupts. Right now only one interrupt can occur because of this switch. So to have two interrupts we need one more switch, and for this we need one more LED also. Let's add here. Let's have a third LED here. Now we have PD2 pin on the discovery board. Let's connect the LED3 to PD2. Now add a second switch. Then we have PA2 pin and another 3V pin on the discovery board. Now connect the one end of the switch to PA2 pin and connect other end of this new switch to 3V. Okay, so now our circuit is complete. So now we will change the already written program that we have written in the previous tutorial in such a way that this second switch will be having the high priority than this first switch. So what will happen is in idle time LED1 will continuously blink forever. Now the moment I press the first switch, an interrupt will occur and this will make the LED2 to blink 5 times. And let's say LED2 blinked 2 times and we press the second switch. So what will happen is the microcontroller will hold the execution here and it will blink the LED3 to blink 5 times. That's because switch 2 interrupt has high priority than switch 1. Hence LED3 will blink 5 times. Now after the LED3 is done blinking 5 times, the execution will again return back and resume where it was put on hold earlier. So if you remember, the LED2 was blinked 2 times earlier before the switch 2 was pressed. So it will now start blinking and it will blink remaining 3 times. And when it is done, the controller will again return back to LED1 and it will again start blinking continuously forever. So hence in this tutorial we will understand how interrupt priority will work. So let's start build this circuit first and then we will write the program. Okay, so this is the circuit that we have already built in the previous tutorial. In this we have LED1 and it is connected to PD0 Then we have LED 2 and it is connected to PD1. Then we have switch and one end of this switch is connected to PA1 and other end is connected to 3-volt pin. Okay, so now we have to add one more LED. And connect the resistor for this new LED. And then connect this LED 3 to PD2 pin on the discovery board. Now add a new switch. Now connect one end of this switch to PA2 pin on the discovery board. And connect other end of this new switch to 3-volt pin. Okay, so now our circuit is complete. We can now start writing code for this circuit and understand interrupt priorities concepts. Okay, so now let's get back to Atomic True Studio. Okay, this is the program that we have written in the previous tutorial. Here we are working with one interrupt only and two LEDs. Here we have configured and initialized the two LEDs. Then here we have configured and initialized the switch. Then here we have configured and initialized the external interrupt line 1. And here we have configured and initialized the NVIC for interrupt line 1. Then here is the while loop. We are making the LED 1 to blink continuously. And here we have written the ISR for the external interrupt line 1. In this ISR, we are making the LED 2 to blink 5 times whenever the external interrupt line 1 is occurring, or in other words, whenever the switch is being pressed. So now we will update this program and understand interrupt priority concept. First, initialize the newly added LED 3. We just have to add the pin number here and LED 3 will automatically initialized. Okay, next thing is configure the newly added switch. Same here, we just need to add the pin number here where the new switch is connected, and rest things will work. Now next is we need to configure and initialize the external interrupt line 2, because our second switch is connected to PA2 pin and 2 here means line 2. So let's do that. Okay, so now we have configured and initialized the external interrupt line 2. Now next is we need to configure the NVIC also for external interrupt line 2. Let's do that. Okay, so now we have two things here, preemption priority and sub priority. So let's understand these things. Okay, let's say we have two interrupts, interrupt A and interrupt B. Let's suppose that interrupt A has preemption priority 1 and interrupt B has preemption priority 0. And they both have sub priority 0. And interrupt A and B both has ISR. Now let's say that interrupt A has occurred and hence ISR started executing. Now let's suppose the interrupt B occurred in between the execution of the ISR of interrupt A. Hence, as the preemption priority of interrupt B is lower than interrupt A, then the execution will be put on hold here and the ISR of interrupt B will get start. Now when this will complete, then it will again return back and resume the ISR of interrupt A. You can see that interrupt B is preempting interrupt A. Now let's suppose interrupt A has sub priority 1 and interrupt B has sub priority 0 and they both have preemption priority 0. Now let's say that interrupt A has occurred and hence ISR started executing. Now let's suppose the interrupt B occurred in between the execution of the ISR of interrupt A. But in this case, the interrupt B will not preempt interrupt A. The ISR of A will be first completed and then ISR of interrupt B will get started executing. Now although the interrupt B sub priority value is less than A, but still the interrupt B will not preempt interrupt A because the preemption priority value is same. Sub priority value will only take effect if both the interrupt A and B occurred at the same time, and then interrupt B ISR will be processed first because it has low sub priority value. Hence, with these two values, we can decide which interrupt will occur first and which interrupt can preempt another. Now here in the program, we want the switch 2 to be of high priority and it can even preempt switch 1 interrupt. Hence, we need to make the line 2 preemption value to be lower than line 1. Let's do that. Let's keep the line 2 value 0. But let's change the line 1 value 1. Now let's just keep their sub priority value 0. Although if you put one higher than other, then it will not impact anything because preemption priority value will be of high importance. Now we have configured the interrupt priorities. Now one last thing that we have left is write the ISR for the interrupt external line 2. That means what will happen when the switch 2 is pressed. Let's write that. Okay, so these lines are similar to the ISR of external interrupt line 1, except it's blinking the LED 3 5 times. Okay, so now our program is complete. We can now build this and run it on discovery board. So let's do that. Okay, so now our new code is running on the board. You can see that LED 1 is blinking continuously. Now what I will do is press the switch 1 and this will make the LED 2 to blink 5 times. Okay, now you can see that LED 2 blinked 5 times. Okay, now let's press the switch 2. Okay, you can see that LED 3 blinked 5 times. Okay, now to test interrupt priority, what I will do is I will again press the switch 1, but then after 2 blinks of LED 2, I will press the switch 2. So what will happen is after 2 blinks of LED 2, the LED 3 will start blinking. And then LED 3 will blink for 5 times, and then the LED 2 will blink the remaining 3 times. And then LED 1 will start blinking continuously. Let's see. That's great. Our program is working properly as we expected. Hence, we learned about interrupt priorities and even see it's working. Okay guys, so in this tutorial, we have learned the types of interrupts, what is meant by the priority. Then we have finally updated the previous program and used 2 interrupts. We saw how we assign priority values to interrupts. Then we have run the program on the discovery board and finally saw how interrupt priorities worked. Once again, this is Anupam from www.logicvoltage.com and thanks for watching. Bye.